It gives me great pleasure to be here at the opening and to invite all of you and welcome all of you to a very business-like workshop, Practical Problems in Implementation of Open Access. Now, there is a mixed audience here. Some people who are from the power sector who understand exactly what the whole subject is, and some people who are new to the subject are basically consumers of electricity. So I'd like to suggest that we do a little bit of housekeeping first. I'm going to invite the speakers to join us as soon as I finish the opening remarks, and the reason for that is we are, besides other problems this country is facing, we have a traffic problem today, courtesy something called, for a Bombayite like me, called Kavadiya problem. So therefore that means that roads are all jam-packed and holy water is being carried to various parts of the country, and that's a very holy subject, so we can't disturb them, but that definitely puts a hold on reaching places on time. So our speakers are on their way, and I think it's a good opportunity to get to know each other, to understand what is it that we are trying to achieve today and why this workshop has been organized, why the timing, etc., etc. Again, to those who come for the first time to IPPAI workshops, we are a not-for-profit. Our job is to make life at least a little easy in this very difficult sector for all segments and all players, generators, transmitters, distributors, and also consumers. And in that context, this workshop was originally to be in the first week of this month. Then we were told by the Delhi government as well as some regulatory commissions that the ARRs are coming out and the tariff orders are coming out, so please postpone it. So we postponed it, and with mutual consent, we got today's date. Unfortunately, today also happens to be the date where the Prime Minister is taking a meeting on the power sector at Vigyan Bhavan. So a large chunk of our morning speakers, whom we originally thought will be here, has unfortunately been summoned for national duty, so to speak, and therefore they will not be, a lot of them will have to drop off last minute or may join us in the afternoon depending on their convenience. But the important point is, I think the positive side of it is that we have regulators with us today, we have distribution companies with us today, and we have consumers with us today. And I think we have a fairly interesting group which will encourage a better understanding of three things. One, where we are in the power sector today. Second, the consumer, where is he standing now in this context of opening up of the power markets. And thirdly, I think most importantly, how do we take the sector forward keeping in mind the consumer's concerns? I've been associated with the power sector since 1986, IPPAI since 1992, and believe me, in all honesty, I must confess, we are so obsessed with generators, just transmission companies, distributors, that we don't really have any time for consumers, and the consumer is far away from us, or has been far away from us for so long. The good news is it's changing, and I think in that context this workshop is important. So it doesn't matter who comes, who goes. Electricity has become for us a life force. It has become for us an extremely important subject. Some time back, I must share with you a personal experience. I had all these concepts of retiring to a nice Himalayan resort where you go to have this beautiful concept of peace and meditation and nirvana and all those other good things they talk about in books. Then all of a sudden I realized कि बस शांति news कैसे मिलेगी, बिजली नहीं है तो, and what happens I need medical attention, and what happens if I need. So I realized that I am an electricity addict, like most people living in urban societies today. If I don't have the fan and air conditioning at night, I get attacked by mosquitoes, I can't sleep, I sweat. If I don't get electricity in the office, my productivity goes down. If I don't get electricity long enough, my telephone exchanges start faltering. I mean, everything that's connected to what I take for granted, that as I'm talking to you, you will hear my voice because this mic is on, because there's electricity, becomes, for my life at least, in this lifetime, I don't know about reincarnation, in this lifetime for sure, I am a Electricity Act. And therefore, I think this concerns everybody who is in some form or the other connected to electricity. On a slightly philosophical note, a lot of people come up to us and say, you know what, Mr. Dhaul, so many millions of people are not electricity connected or grid connected. आप तो जो बात कर रहे हैं सिर्फ urban India की बात कर रहे हैं, rural का क्या होगा? So I tell them कि boss, if you look at the development model we are following, it is power and energy centric. 21st century is all about energy centric development. If you want to go for education, you have to go to a school. If you want to have village teaching through a satellite, you need electricity. Anything that you are trying to develop or grow, health, sanitation, agriculture, industry is electricity centric. So in that context, I think all of us are very much involved and interested in what's going on. अब ये open access बला क्या है? What is this open access business? And I think for me, if at all there is any contribution I have yet to make or make, is to make things very simple, because power sector is dominated by practitioners and experts who are highly technical. और उनका बात, उनकी जो उनकी language है, normal मेरे जैसे लोगों को समझ में नहीं आती. And I realize that most people don't understand this. So if I'm a businessman, I'm running an industry, I only want to know, boss, how I can save money in my power bills, so that my industry becomes more profit making, so that I'm able to function more efficiently. मुझे उसके अलावा कोई लेना देना नहीं कि तुम क्या करते हो क्या नहीं करते, none of my business. Now this is the issue where we have reached today in the power sector. अब सब history geography of power sector की वो पढ़ना चाहे तो you can Google it. We've been having electricity here since 1907, but it has gone through its ups and downs. Centralization हो गया, federalization हो गया, 1948 में all private sectors were thrown out, it all became state, फिर उसके बाद में 91 में फिर से खोल दिया, and all that kind of stuff. But important point is Electricity Act 2003 जो हमने किया है, उसमें the exciting thing was that we are talking about creating a competition. Being from India, sometimes when I talk in international forums, they ask me, boss, you are defining the laws of economics. कर क्या रहे हो? So what happened? He says, यहाँ shortage है और तुम competition ला रहे हो. अब ये कैसे चलता है? I said, boss, India is a very unique country. You will never understand. But we are trying to be, what the word I would like to use is, we want to do something called electricity for all. अब इलेक्ट्रिसिटी फॉर ऑल एक पॉलिटिकल जार्गन ही नहीं है, एक रियलिटी ये है कि अगर हम इलेक्ट्रिसिटी फॉर ऑल नहीं देते हैं तो डेवलपमेंट नहीं हो पाएगा. देयर विल बी नो डेवलपमेंट एंड देयर विल बी देयरफॉर मोर पॉवर्टी एंड यू विल बिकम इन दिस मॉर्निंग्स टीवी प्रोग्राम एनीबॉडी हैड सीन साउथ अमेरिका इज नाउ गोइंग इनटू अ सिचुएशन वेयर डे एंड नाइट देयर आर मर्डर्स टेकिंग प्लेस, एक्सटॉर्शन टेकिंग प्लेस. Disparity has gone so much out of control. So every citizen in this country actually has I won't say the word duty से तो मैं भी करता रहता हूँ, but a responsibility to be socially aware कि unless you share your pie, so to speak, of being digitally connected and electricity connected, you are going to have a very serious law and order problem. So to those of you who are interested in that kind of work, we also run an NGO called Security Watch India, which works across the country and across the world in spreading awareness on homeland security and stuff like that. But then again, there's a connection between the two. Now this open access business, ये है कि we are trying to give the consumer a choice. And we want everybody in this country to have an opportunity to have access to electricity from the person of his choice. This is really layman's terms. अब प्रॉब्लम ये आ रहा है कि जो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कंपनी है, and the good and bad news is that there is no private distribution company created after 2002, if I am not wrong. उसके बाद, for some strange reason, nobody has ventured to go into private sector distribution. Although Delhi is talking about privatization of water, which is very, very brave and I think very forward-thinking. So there is in a sense, models available of people who have been running the private distribution company. Of course, most of it is government. Now, to those of you who are not familiar with the power sector, 2-3 quick bullet points. One, you have a regulator, very important man in the power sector, and I must say amongst all regulators in the country that I've seen, except for maybe SEBI, I found power regulators to be fairly effective. There are other sectors like petroleum where the regulators' role is questioned, his ability is questioned. There are regulators in the civil aviation sector, they also have a very limited capacity. But power regulators have become a fairly important force to reckon with. Now these distribution companies, the moment you see them, for example, Gopal is here, he's going to speak later, he's from the IPPAI, which is the Reliance company running Delhi, or large parts of Delhi. You find that their revenue comes from the paying consumer. And whatever revenue they get, they have to subsidize, or they have to cross-subsidize, if I can use the phrase, to those fellows who don't pay or pay less. The Electricity Act addressed this by saying that anybody whom the government thinks should get free electricity or low electricity, government should sign a check and give it to them. Now that has, in law it is there, but in reality it doesn't work that way. And therefore we will hear more about the difficulties they are having. But सबसे बड़ा जो खतरा है डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कंपनी को, एटलीस्ट उनके दिमाग में, वो ये है कि भाई ये ओपन एक्सेस हो जाएगा तो हमारे सारे कस्टमर भाग जाएंगे, खास करके इंडस्ट्री. Now industry, remember, is normally a paying consumer unless you are a subsidized industry and so on. So they are looking at the revenue from industry, from commercial complexes, from paying consumers to cross-subsidize the non or less paying consumer in a geographical area जिसमें ये distribution company चलती है. So the first point is कि open access is not everybody in Delhi be buying power from Bombay or Calcutta or Madras or Chennai or whatever. It is selectively a customer has a choice. So an industry in Faridabad or an industry in Gurgaon or an industry in Noida or wherever has a choice today, at least in law, of buying his power supply from the company where he is situated or from any other source. इसका मतलब क्या हो गया कि all the paying fellows can be cherry picked as far as the distribution company is concerned. For example, a large party which pays a lot of money in Delhi, for example, because you're sitting in Delhi, is the Delhi Metro.